I had said that the use of attributes is pretty much limited only by one's imagination and what one is trying to accomplish. I thought I'd go ahead and spend a few minutes and walk through some examples of what some people have done with attributes. This is a map about circular economy, educational resources that Colin Wilson is developing. What he's done here is he's used types on different elements. This is a subject. This is a lesson plan. Um, this is a graphic. So that based upon those particular types, he has used the type to define the decoration for those elements. This is a video. So if you go to perspective, and remember that you can use Alt S to look at the perspective for um, a project. Well, actually, for whatever perspective is relevant to the map that you're looking at. So if you look at this, you'll see that based upon element type of home, here are a whole set of attributes defined. Here for type of subject, here are the attributes defined, so that he's using these element types to define the way that he wants those elements to be decorated. Now, additionally, if you look, there are different styles of connections here also. And if you look down, we get down, all right, it says connection type chemistry, there's a size and color, connection type physics, there's a size, color, and a pattern for dashed. This is probably this one here. So that he's using the types to find the way that the map actually ends up being decorated. I didn't find that he was using any other attributes other than the ones that were already predefined, though, I might have missed them. Here's one called the PayPal Mafia. This, in addition to the typical types, I mean, there are entities here defined as people and as companies, and there's more than one kind of connection. Here's an employee founder, and here's an investor, though there are some additional attributes defined, so that for a person, if you scroll down, you'll notice that they've defined attributes for net worth, influence, education, and all of these pieces of data, in addition to attribution, board affiliations, and image. And the image is a private attribute, so that if you looked at this, you wouldn't see this link. You would see the image as it's displayed, but you wouldn't actually see this field in the profile for that particular entity. And if you look at a company, the company has just a couple of what the company website is and a couple of other attributes. And what they've used this for is partially for decorations, so that you find that the links, the connections, I keep calling them links, someplace. Yeah, the connection investor is of one color, and the connection employee founder is a different color. Though the interesting part here is down here at the bottom, they've said element of element type equal person, scale based upon net worth from 0.9 to 2.6. So what they're doing is they're using this net worth attribute to have Kumu decide how big the element is based upon the individual's net worth. So you can get a sense of their net worth just by looking at the map itself without having to look at the detail. So that's another use for attributes. For this one, the 86th Academy Awards, they've defined pictures. They've defined, that's a picture also. They've defined actors, and they've defined Oscars, and what they have done is used the box office. So here, the box office revenue is only relevant to picture. So if you look at Best Picture, that particular attribute doesn't show up. And if you look at individual, that doesn't show up. So that if you looked at this, and if well, I don't have access to it, but if I went and looked, it would define that this particular attribute is only relevant to those elements that have the type of picture. So you can say, you can tie a particular set of attributes to a certain kind of entity and then do what you want to, so that they're here. They end up sizing the pictures based upon the attribute. Well, this is big. Whew. Where is it? Okay, here. Element type picture, scale by box office millions. Oh, and they're changing the color of it. Not only are they changing the size of it, but they're also changing the color of it based upon the revenue, so that the shadow around it will be different based upon the revenue. Well, that's interesting. Here's a very different use for attributes. This is a number of people attending a symposium. Each individual has a picture, they're identified as a person, and there are a whole set of attributes that were collected for the individuals when they attended the conference or the symposium. Though notice that none of them are connected. The intent here was to use a feature called clustering in Kumu, so that one can come in and investigate the relationships between these people based upon the attributes which were defined. So that if I ask about which sectors are people in, it will go ahead and cluster people based upon the values of the sector attribute. So that all these people are nonprofits, and these people are foundation, these people are higher education, this group of people are government. Now I can go ahead and then turn that off and ask about their geographic focus. So it will now cluster them based upon what they indicated was their geographic focus and their issue area of outcome focus. This gets a little intense in the center, so that if you come into here and say, okay, I'm interested in who's engaged in health and well-being, I can click and hold here, and it will get rid of everything else and just show me all of the connections to health and well-being. I can also do multiple of these at the same time, which probably gets more confusing than useful, though it's doable. So so what's happening here is, based upon the attributes defined for the individuals, I'm using the cluster capability to tell it that I want Kumu to cluster the elements around these particular attributes that I've defined. As I said, you know, the set of possibilities is amazing, and the best thing to do is to go wander around and look at other people's maps. So I suggest that you go to kumu.io/explore, which provides a list of the top 50 most visited public projects, wander through them and look at them to see what other people are creating, And when you find things that you like, recycle them. I mean, it's even after spending a year with Kumu, I run across things and I say, wow, that's neat. How'd they do that? And I go there, I open the model, I look at it, see what they're doing, find some aspect of it that seems to make sense. Oh, how did they color this way? So I'll select it, I'll do an Alt S, and this shows me all the style associated with that element. Now most of these are defaults, so I just have to pick out the ones that I need to make it look like this. And I can go ahead and use it. Or the styling for the whole map itself is much shorter, so I'd probably just look at this one and find out what was this particular one. Oh, that's an NGO, so then I can go here and look at element type NGO. Here's the border width, and the color. So that's how I would go ahead and duplicate that styling for that element. So really, the best way to learn about doing things is doing things, and sometimes looking at other people's creations provides a set of thoughts about, wow, that's an interesting display, so that you can then go ahead and figure out how they did this display and use it for one of your own. I mean, here's the map on the right contains all you need to know to get started with the circular economy. Here's another one by Colin Wilson. So here's a set of videos about certain things, and here are graphics that probably from the Ellen MacArthur website, number of articles. So hope you found this interesting. I ran a little long, but take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.